Hey, this is Flo and welcome back to the next part of the Stocks App Challenge. Today we will talk a little bit about what is still left to do, and then we will add the delete gesture on the list. If you enjoy the videos that I make and want to see more, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, but let's get right into it. So first of all, there's one thing missing that we're not displaying, and that's the change. And the reason for that is that the API that we're using doesn't actually give us the ability to calculate the change, because the change is based on the current value versus the last closing value of the previous day. But we don't get the last closing value of the previous day, so we can't display the change. And because of that, I will just go the lazy route and remove it completely. And that way, we will not have to deal with it. Okay, next up, let's actually implement the onDelete gesture. So basically clicking edit and then swiping to the left, and then we should be able to delete a symbol. This should also delete it from core data. So for that, we need to find our list and then the for each. And there's a modifier on the for each, which we can just call like this. It's the onDelete modifier. Once we have added this, then it is actually possible to drag to delete and also click to delete when in editing mode. And you should pass in a function here that gets in an index set and returns void. So let's create just that in our content view model. Let's below our add stock function, let's add a function delete, or let's just call it delete at index set like this. Okay, and now we should be able to put in model.delete add here just like this, and then it can be executed as a closure. Okay, and maybe to understand this a little bit, just in our delete function we will print the first value of the index set to the console. Let's run this in the simulator and let's see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, the symbol IBM got loaded, and now we can actually drag to delete or go into the edit mode and then click here to delete, or drag or click delete over here. And now if I hit delete, then this delete function will be called. SwiftUI automatically fades out whatever is supposed to be deleted. But if we hit done, then it comes back because internally we didn't actually delete it. So as you can see in the console, optional 0 got printed, because obviously as an index set is a set, so the first value is always an optional, because it could be nil or empty. The set could be empty. So what we actually get here, index set.first, is basically the index in the array that or in the collection that the list iterates over. So basically the index in our model.doc stock data array, which we declared here. Okay, now let's first of all make sure that this index exists. So if let, or actually let's use guard let index equal index set dot first, and else we want to return out of this function. This case actually should never happen, because to call this delete function, some item needs to be deleted. So it's pretty safe to put in this guard statement here, and with that we have actually unwrapped the optional first index into the constant index, and now we can work with that. Okay, so now we actually have to delete it in several places. First of all, we need to remove it from the stock data, which is the data that we get from our API and that we then display in the content view via this iteration here. And then we also need to remove it from our stock entities array, and we also need to remove it in core data, so basically delete it in our persistent storage. So first of all, let's remove it from the stock data array. So let's call stock data dot remove at the current index, and then it will be done. Let's look at this function. So this actually gives us back the element, so we could say let element equals stock data remove, and then we can still access it. And now if we look at element, it's actually of type stock data. So we could call this stock to remove. Okay. Next up, we can remove it from our stock entities array. So let's do that. So stock entities dot remove at, again, an index. Let's just say index. And actually we don't need the stock data up here. I just wanted to show you how it works. But we can use it here. So we already have our stock entity, which we can now delete from core data. So let's just say context dot delete stock to remove. Let's see, this cannot throw. And then in the end, we should always say context dot save. This can throw, so we need to encapsulate it in a do catch block like always. So do try context dot save and then catch just by printing the error. As always, you should handle the error differently in a real application. Let's try this out now and see what happens. Okay, so the list loaded. Let's hit edit. Let's delete IBM. Hit done, and it's actually gone for good. Now let's restart the app and see if it's also deleted in core data or if it's still there. And as you can see, it's not there anymore. So it also got deleted in core data because we called context.delete on our stock entity. Let's try out if adding still works. So let's add back IBM. Okay, that still works. Let's also maybe add Tesla. Okay, and now let's delete IBM again. Okay, this throws an error, fatal error, index out of range in our stock entities. And that's very obvious because when we are adding a new stock, we're creating a new stock entity, but we're not appending it to our array of stock entities. So what we should do is just call stock entities dot append new stock, and like this error should not happen again. Let's just make sure and try it out. Okay, Tesla and IBM still work, so let's also add Apple. Then let's hit edit and delete Apple. Hit done, and it's gone. Okay, that's it for this video. In the next one, we will handle form validation for this text field, and that will also be the last video in this series. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, once again, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel, and if you have any video ideas, any questions, just leave a comment and I will try to help you. See you in the next one.